Hi there. Welcome back to Eochora. Um, so, who would like to give the recap for last session?
I will go ahead.
Cool.
Alright, so when we last left off, Sarkovan, having been suspected of poisoning the food at the Jaius Council's festival, had cast Crown of Madness, which caused a snake like shadow to cover the area and caused some people to get thorns on their heads. And more or less, it erupted into utter chaos. The crowned thorned people started attacking the non crowned thorned people, and then the shadow had actually become a giant serpent by the name of Zether
Zyther.
was his name? Zyther. And Burasil, the god that had come to the festival, began to fight the giant serpent. In the meantime, Sarkovan took this opportunity to try and run away. So the party ended up going after him while fighting or avoiding the crowned people. And the druids at the time had also begun to break the crowned folk with their greater or lesser restorations. And one of them, I believe his name was Vatavant,
Hmm.
is that how you say it? Had
Yeah.
followed along with the party. They eventually caught up to Sarkovan and bound him, while the assistance of both Lilavati and Tokara, using a scroll of remove curse to free him from what ended up being a possession from Zether. Zyther. Bleh. And it was shortly after being freed from possession that Sarkovan revealed that he and the snake had actually swapped body and mind the whole time. And I believe that is where we left off.
Yeah. So, you all find yourselves in the interior of the great tree city of Utamanyu. Kind of on like a large wooden staircase built inside. Vadavant is there, and as the vines curl away that he had conjured magically, to restrain Storkoven, uh, everyone is now gathered here, and Storkoven has a moment to speak. Um, there is some questioning about what he had been up to. Um, what do you do?
Well, r- right away I say I don't have time to explain. Um, the guy that we thought we defeated back at the 1T camp is below us in the city right now, and we need to help the guards in capturing him and his friends. And I immediately start heading down there because I imagine I know where they are since I was just there.
All right. Storkoven starts heading down. Vadavant will his eyes goes wide with surprise, and he'll follow you. What about the rest of you?
So, Coven, wait! I follow.
All right. So everyone continues on and heads down. You go down several flights of stairs before coming to the exterior of the tree, but on a large kind of walkway that circles the side of it. And there you see on the ground four vine crawlers, unconscious, pools of blood around them, and no sign of the Wanti that Sarkovan mentioned.
Damn, he must have got away. I try to see if there's any sign of him.
Roll investigation. Um, let's see. So you can tell that the wounds on the guards were caused by some by scimitars, other bear the mark of snake fangs. Um, And you notice that wrapped in one of the vine crawlers, like vines extending from his back, is you notice the small pieces of snakeskin that kind of have broken in places.
I try to inspect the snakeskin.
Um, yeah, so it's like kind of seems to be like the shed skin of a snake. Um,
Does it look to be the same color as Zalpali's skin?
it does.
Did I know Zalpali to have an ability that allowed him to shed his skin in that way?
Make
Or do I think it
a
was just naturally something that happened?
make a wisdom check. Um, although you never saw him do this or anything like this, the memory springs into your mind of the ability to shed his skin to escape grapples or restraints. Um, it's an ability that some powerful Wanti have, and it's not something they can do often, but they can do it in situations like this.
In my gut, do I feel like we have any chance of finding him, or is he long gone by now?
Thinking back to what you experienced in the moments prior to the return to your body, um, you get the sense that you might have an idea of who he went to, but given that most of the people were occupied with the festival, he likely was able to get back fairly quickly to where
He kind of had a clean getaway.
exactly.
Okay. Well, I look a little sorrowful to anybody who's paying attention. Um, and I just say, I may know where he went, but by now he probably got away. Um, I was hoping maybe we'd be able to capture him and his friends. I guess there's a lot that I need to explain, but let's not do it here. Not right now. Let's see if anyone needs help back up at the festival. We need to
As
go.
as you're saying these things, you hear um, the sound of branches breaking, and looking upward, you see falling from above the enormous snake body of Scyther. It falls hundreds of feet and crashes to the ground at the base of the tree before vanishing into black smoke. Then you hear from the top of the tree cheers, shouts of joy, um, and other similar cries.
I'm
We
sorry. I've
should.
I've wasted everyone's time. Quickly back up to the festival, and then I'd start running back up to the festival.
All right. Anyone else want to do anything here, or just head back up?
I'm gonna head back to the Ruthless Grasshopper now.
I will head back up as well.
All right. Um, so blonde-haired girl heads back to the ruthless grasshopper. Uh, but the rest of you head up. When you arrive, you see the aftermath of a battle. People are tending to wounds. There's a few dead, but not too many. Um, Burisil is speaking with the archdruids. And as you approach, one of the archdruids, Maya Devi, the one with the like leafy plant-like wings, turns and sees Storkovan walking with the rest of them. She suddenly like flies up into the air towards him and says, "What's going on here?" Vadavant says, Seems he was under some sort of possession from the Yuan Ti, but gestures towards Torkara. But this one had a magic scroll that was able to drive out the spirit. He seems fine now. I witnessed this with my own eyes, and I believe it to be the case.
While he was saying that, I would have just taken a knee and um, looked to the ground and bowed my head.
She looks at you for a minute. Then she begins muttering some words as she casts a spell, and her eyes flash bright green. And she says, "Well, I know not who you are, but it seems that the one who caused all these problems, was not you.
It's true. I know who is responsible, but I'm afraid he got away.
What can you tell us about him?"
Well, he's a Wanti mind whisperer. He was blessed by Zether, the god of craftiness and trickery, and he was on a quest to kill Vasan
She
and
looks
to weaken.
over towards the other druids. Um, in particular, the circle of the wildfire druid leader. But then she looks back to you and says, "Continue."
He was doing this because he wanted to weaken the Archdruid's connection to the Yodahola trees. And in doing so, he would be able to strike Anayan to the south and take a cure or ingredients there in order to make a cure for a deadly disease that was plaguing his home. There's more to the story, but essentially, back at the Wanti camp, when myself and my compatriots fought him, we had thought that he was defeated, but instead he was able to perform a ritual. And when he completed that ritual, my body and his body were swapped. In other words, my mind was in his body and vice versa. He managed to make it back here to Yutamanyu with my friends, with my allies, and I suspect he did horrible things here.
Look
But
around you.
I wasn't present for any of it.
So what were you doing in this time?
Well, I'd like to tell you, but it's kind of a long story. Is there any chance maybe later tonight when things have died down, we can all go to the Ruthless Grasshopper? I think that'd be a better environment for me to explain.
Very well. I will see you there. And she gestures towards Vadavant, and they head back to help with the other injured.
So, Coven, you've been through a lot. You sure you don't want to take a night's rest here and collect your thoughts?
No,
Tell us in the morning.
I have to let everyone know what happened. I have to get this off my chest.
Sure.
But thank you, love, for looking out for me, and I just wish you could have been where I was. I wish you could have seen what I saw. But hopefully tonight, after I've said my piece, you'll understand a bit more of what I'm going through. And then I start to look to see if anybody needs help, any injured people.
Um, looking on in the time that it took you to get back here and telling of your story so far, looks like a majority of the people have been helped out. There's a lot of powerful druids here, both the arch druids of the Giants Council as well as the entire Circle of Dreams that leads Utamanyu, and several other just independent druids who are doing more work healing than you believe yourself capable of. But I mean, spirits are pretty dour. Um, these people were celebrating, excited, hopeful for the future, and all of these festivities were just completely turned on their head. Um, and so, although the physical wounds are being healed, the mental wounds may take more time.
Um, well, after I see that really there's nothing that I could do to help outside of what the druids are capable of, I try to just find somewhere comfortable to sit down and take a breather.
All right. There's plenty of chairs around, so you're able to find a spot just to relax and catch your breath, your own breath, for the first time in a few days.
Takar will sit next to him.
Mhm.
We all know it wasn't your fault.
Thank you, Turkara. That means a lot to me. I know it seems like I caused a lot of harm. I just hope that the druids are as forgiving as you.
Well, I don't know much about druids, but they're usually peaceful and mystic and all of that bullshit. So I'm sure if I could forgive you, they will have no problem.
And Sorkovan nods respectfully before going back into thought, trying to gather his thoughts about what occurred when he
Takar will
was in Zolpali's body.
Takar will stand and give Sarkovin one of those little battle pats on the shoulder, leading to his thoughts.
And it probably hurts a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't remember if you took, or if Storkoven's body took any damage last session, but you would be feeling those injuries, if so.
Okay.
There's at least some physical exertion, lots of running. It's a strange experience suddenly being hit by all that, having not done it yourself.
Okay. Would it be possible to take a short rest right now?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll do so, and as I'm gathering my thoughts, I just pluck out a little quaint melody on my harp, and everybody gets the benefit of Song of Rest, who is also taking the rest.
Make a performance check for me. It's separate from the ability that you're using.
Trying, but okay, there we go. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, your companions are looking on. Starkoven is exhausted in more ways than one, and he's not a particularly joyful fellow. But now more than ever, you see that he's been through a lot, and he pulls out this harp and begins playing a song that, like, you get the feeling that it's more than um you're impressed by how well he's able to perform in this state. Um, and you see that serves as a comfort to him more than anything else. Um, and several of the people around the area just kind of look up and don't seem quite as sad as they were before. But eventually, the people begin filing down the tree, leaving this area, and returning to their homes as it is somewhat late in the evening. Um, what would y'all like to do?
I think maybe it's best if we go to the Ruthless Grasshopper. You don't all have to follow, but I think I will go there.
I'm going to head there in a minute. Don't wait up for me.
Well,
Alright.
don't forget we need to debrief them there tonight. So
Right.
Would you like the company of Sirius? So Coven. Would you rather be alone?
Only if you don't think you'll need Sirius.
I look at her and I assume she's comfortable with it, so I kind of just let her, I guess, fly over.
And it definitely makes Sorkoven feel better. He doesn't necessarily need the company of anyone in particular, but knowing that Sirius is there does lift a bit of his burden.
Wow, Lilavotti is going to not believe what happened tonight.
Where did she
how is it
go?
that she missed the whole thing?
Oh, hello.
Well,
Can, can I help you? Have we met?
Who are you
What?
talking to?
I'm talking to the blonde woman.
The blonde woman
There's
who
no
left
one
like
else
30
here to
minutes
talk to.
ago.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know that. Was that spoken?
Yeah, when we decided to go up, I didn't. I went back.
All right, all right, all
Um,
right. I take it back then.
so you head back to the Grasshopper. Um, and on the way, you notice several of the druids have moved to a much lower section of the tree. So you're kind of looking down at them from above. And you see them picking up the broken body of the goblin archdruid who had fallen. Um, they carry him respectfully and begin bringing him into the heart of the tree. Um, as you arrive back at the Grasshopper, um, it's there's two or three travelers there, um, but it's not as busy as it usually is. Uh, you see Thorum just filling up a few drinks at the bar, and he says, "You folks could sure use some rest. It's not easy what you've been through, but not much in life is. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you."
Have you seen Lilavati?
Um, yeah, I think she's in her room upstairs. If you want to go give a knock on her door.
I look to Love. Excuse me, Love and Core.
Perhaps I should go and check on her.
Thank you, Cole.
Of course. And I will go to check on the Levati.
Well, Vati, you hear a knock on the door.
I go over and open the door as myself at this point.
Ah, Lilavati. The rest of us are back if you'd like to join us.
All right. I think at this point you kind of see, like, the door's a little bit open. You would see Mozilla just vanishing, like, as the timer ran out.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll follow you
As I
downstairs.
as I turn around to walk back, I say, "Oh, and by the way, your little secret is safe with me." And I just give a little wink as I head back downstairs.
Little Vati looks like she's about to say something, but she decides not to, and follows you downstairs.
Yeah.
All right. Sir Coven, you were sticking around at the festival area for a little bit longer. Was there anything else you wanted to do there?
I'm mostly just gathering my thoughts, but now after some time has passed, do I notice anybody that is still hanging around here?
Um, let's see. Most people, there's probably about a dozen people left. Um, you see a few tabaxi sitting at a table, just enjoying some of the leftovers. Um, and you see two members of the Circle of Dreams. Where? Give me one sec. There we go. You see this male dark elf speaking softly with this female elf. Um,
Okay, I try to walk up to them. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to interrupt them, but yes, I am trying to interrupt them.
the uh, the female elf notices you first, and she says, "Quite a commotion you caused here, but it seems like things have mostly been resolved. Um, I
I'm I- I'm glad things are um closer to normal.
yes, man,
I
this has
trust
been."
that the truth of the matter has been told to you about what happened here.
She nods.
Attention.
Listen, I know you don't owe me anything,
Attention.
but if there's any way that you could let any of the other druids who may not have heard the story, um, that would be very helpful to me.
We'll the male elf says, "We'll be sure to spread the word. Um, will definitely need to keep an eye out for more Cascaldians. I'm sure there's more spies among us. Um, but really, if we knew what their ultimate goals were and what they were really trying to accomplish, we might have a better chance at stopping them."
Well, then this may interest you. Um, Not long from now, I'll be explaining everything that happened and the motivations for those Wanti at the Ruthless Grasshopper. Um, if you have time to spare, you should head down there, and that way you can hear it directly from me.
Uh, I'll be there. Shabari, will you come as well? And the female elf like kind of stretches and gives a big yawn, and she says, "It's late. I need some sleep. I'll see you in the morning, or more likely the afternoon." And she walks off. Um, but he says, you know, Thora mentioned to us a bit about what you did for Tanu and the others. Those ruins that you came across, I'm quite interested in them. Did you happen to find anything uh, unusual? I believe it was the place where you found Tanu's wife and child.
We found very interesting things there, actually. If I'm remembering correctly, it seemed to be a tomb of the Valoom Empire. Um, and then Sarkovan takes a minute to try and remember the name of the empire.
Uh, yeah, it's the Volek Empire was mentioned. Um,
And Sarkovan explains how we were attacked by that undead
mhm.
creature, how the tomb worked, um, how it looked like it was being excavated by someone who was researching the area. But besides Tanu and Bahu, there weren't anyone else there that that, that was alive.
What what signs of excavation, or do you have any clue as to who this person might have been?
Yes, we took notes that that person wrote, and but I can't remember who possesses them. Um, one of my allies would have the notes that we took.
Um,
I don't think Sorkovan took it.
I think Love might have, but I'm not 100% sure. Um, but he says,
Um,
if you could maybe speak with your companions, I'd be very interested in those notes when I meet you at the Grasshopper later. Um, the see, I've organized the Moonlight Society here in Utamanu, and it's a group of people interested in the various ruins found around Shariner. And so I suggest you come visit sometime. Feel like we can be of benefit to each other.
I'll make sure. I'll make sure that the notes get to you. And I'm very intrigued in the Moonlight Society. I appreciate you telling me about it.
Sir Coven, was it?
Correct.
I am Vikriti. Pleasure to meet you.
The pleasure is mine, Vikriti.
Um, he'll nod to you and then go back to helping out some of the other people.
Cool.
Um, so what are you doing now, Sir Coven?
Um, I'm gonna head down to the Ruthless Grasshopper.
Okay.
Um, And when I get there, I'm gonna try and find Thorum,
Hmm.
um, and ask him if it's okay if I can do a little impromptu uh, performance for the people there.
Yeah, so when you arrive, you see the rest of your companions gathered around a table, and Thorum at the bar. Um, you explain this. I mean, he says, "Oh, you're always welcome to give a performance here. The stage is yours."
Thank you, Thorum. Um, I try to see, is the grasshopper packed or is it kind of empty?
It's mostly empty. There's your party, Thorum, and then two other people who seem to be out of towners, just like in the corner of the table.
Okay. Well, what time is it?
Probably about like 8 p.m.
Hmm. Do I think that there will be more people here later tonight?
Hard to tell. You do know like there's a lot of people in town due to the festivities. But given what happened, you're not sure if there's going to be a lot of people looking for like having a good time at a bar uh, afterwards. But some people might come.
And I'm sorry, I think you already said this, but is Vikriti there and Sabari?
Uh, no.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait a little while to see if more people show up.
okay.
And I'm gonna see if any of my allies are here in the Grasshopper, and if they are, I'll go stand by them.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So everyone in the parties now are kind of back together in one place.
Okay, cool.
So about 20 minutes or so later, a few more people have trickled in at this point. It's not the busiest night ever, but a couple more tables are filled. Thorum's pouring some more drinks. Conversation has picked up a bit. Um, and then you see um, Vikriti, Maya Devi, and about four other of the archdruids enter.
Okay. At this point, everybody who I'm really serious about being here is here. So I go up to Thorum one last time, give him a little wink, and then head towards the center of the inn.
Hmm.
Um, I look around at the crowd. I look at my allies, um, and I say,
Real quick, um, as I see the archdruids come in, I kind of want to bolt to or nonchalantly move into the kitchen.
Okay, you do so. Make a stealth check for me. All right.
"Question: Are there any torches lit in the inside of the Ruthless Grasshopper?"
Um, no, but there are these like purplish crystals hanging from the ceiling that like glow with a faint light, but enough to warmly light the interior. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough.
The
Um,
yeah, one thing you would have noticed is like in your time living here is that like fire is not used as a source of light anywhere, except at the Temple of Heffine. Um, but yeah,
Understood. With that, I look to the crowd one last time
hmm
and say, "Hello, hello. Could I please have everyone's attention?"
they all look
And I
towards
wait a
you.
few. Okay. Thank you all for being here tonight. It truly is a blessing for us to be gathered here in peace and merriment. Not long ago, in fact, just earlier today, this way of life was threatened. We were attacked here, in our homes. Yet 5 valiant heroes prevented death and destruction from overtaking us. 5 adventurers, some of the finest individuals I've ever known, and one so-so tiefling bard. But tonight, I'm not telling their story. No, I'm telling an entirely different tale. One with an altogether different perspective. Now listen closely. Over 100 years ago, a Wanti people suffered an outbreak. It was a plague, a horrible disease that killed all those who contracted it. Desperate, the Wanti searched for a cure, realizing eventually that the Shirin druids of Anayan to the south possessed such a cure. Those Wanti returned victorious, but the disease would return decades later to claim more lives. This time, however, the Wanti were attacked by the druids and rangers of Anayan. The attack was unprovoked, and without the cure, thousands of Wanti children died before the disease had run its course. The Wanti barely survived. They swore vengeance against such a horrible betrayal. And the tragedy only continued. Zelpali, a Wanti chosen, discovered his own daughter stricken with the disease. His masters saw this as a sign from the Wanti god of craftiness and trickery, Zether, and Zelpali ascended to the powerful form of a mind whisperer, second only to his anathema masters. With the help of his trusted friend Talalak, he set out to defeat the evil druids of Sharonar, so that he could save his only daughter and the other innocent children of Torhueco, his home, from the dreadful disease. Though not everyone trusted Zelpali, one even was jealous that he had been chosen. Etolia would work in the shadows, and eventually would plot to complete Zelpali's quest in his place, earning his glory and the favor of their masters. And Zelpali himself didn't trust his direct superior, Uetso. He made contact with a Wanti defector, Kiyiya, who had been accepted into the regeneration cult of Ethax. With Kiyiya's assistance, Zelpali believed he could overthrow Uetso, ending its cruel reign. Zelpali ventured to Utamanya to accomplish his quest, to save his daughter. But, well, you know the rest. Did the story intrigue you?
Um,
Zorkovan looks to the crowd. I certainly hope so. All of it was true. Now you know the whole tale. Thank you, and please enjoy the rest of your night. And
A-
Sorkovan walks away.
As you begin to walk away, um, Vasan steps forward, the Circle of Wildfire Archdruid, and he says, I do not, I will not say what you have claimed today is false, but it is not the whole story. Although the attack against the Wanti of Torhueco was before my time, knowledge of that event was passed down through the archdruids of my circle. So yeah, let me give you a visual of him real quick. The one sec. You see, the attack was not unprovoked, as you so claim. For the key to curing their disease were the scales of the blessed coatls, holy creatures that lived among our tribe for centuries. When the when our tribe originally learned of their plight, we were happy to share the scales with them so that they might cure their children and bring life back to their town. But after they returned, each coatl that had donated scales began to suffer, going from lustrous golden color to a dull gray before finally dying of similar symptoms from what we have learned of the dermal decay that you mentioned. The Wanti didn't mention to us the consequences of our gift, and so we suffered for it. When they came back to try to get the scales again, we had no chance but to defend the few remaining coatl in our tribe. Yet even that wasn't enough, as they died soon after, and for the past 50 years or so, there has not been a coatl among our tribe. Even if Zelpali was able to succeed in his quest, there are no more scales for him in Inayan. His hatred and revenge are his only driving factors, and they blind him to any sense of any alternative. That is the whole story.
Sorkovan shakes his head. Um, but he doesn't say anything to Vasan. And walks directly out of the ruthless grasshopper.
All right, you head out.
But I don't go back to my room. I'm just right outside of the entrance, leaning up against the wall, adjacent to the entrance.
Mm-hmm. The archdruids begin speaking to each other softly. Um, and then they begin heading out of the grasshopper. Surkov, and you see them exit. Vasan glances towards you, kind of narrows his eyes a bit, but then continues and follows the other druids. And they begin heading up the tree.
I watch them as they go.
What's everyone else up to?
Takara is kind of just trying to take in both sides of that story. No stranger to difficult decisions in times of hardship. And she's not quite sure where she stands, but is mindful of the fact that Sir Coven seems like he's lived that experience. So, long story short, she's kind of sitting, pondering in thought.
Have I ever heard any of that story before?
Make a history check. Um, you've heard of the Coatls and their as being sort of like a myth from the past, I suppose. You've heard of Torhueco and the dangerous Wanti that live there. But not more than that.
How you
Oh.
spell Quaddle? Quassel.
Coautl, I believe.
Kotal.
Yeah, that's probably correct.
No, I think what you said is correct.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll leave the kitchen and rejoin the table.
okay.
You're muted, Chris.
No, this is just how I speak when I don't want the words to come out. Where have you been this whole time, Rolavati?
Fine this whole time.
That is a tricky question. An answer to my tricky question.
We can't hear you anymore, Chris.
Me or other Chris?
Grass.
Other Chris.
Okay.
How about now?
Yes.
A.
Great. What did I say? Right. We you were just noticeably absent when the gathering was being attacked.
I just decided I didn't want to go.
Find that hard to believe. I mean, don't mean to pry or sound intrusive, but all this time we've spent building up to this moment, and we don't want to go. But of course, it's your choice.
Love, you sound very sad about it. like you're weeping. It's understandable. Father duties call.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, the
Let's just
Levati
say
has
I let's just say I have my reasons for not wanting to go.
that is enough for
It, wa-
me.
it wasn't just a spur of the moment thing.
I will not pry into your personal dealings.
So apparently there was a commotion up there.
Oh, no big deal. Sarkovan was just possessed and summoned a giant snake, and there was a god. It was, only a small commotion of about 100 people, and 14 archdruids, and a god or two. Hardly noticeable. I understand why you wouldn't pop up. No, but in
Uh,
all seriousness, it was quite a commotion, and I'm sure whatever it was important.
Levati's not saying anything because he's trying to hold a straight face.
Sorkovan walks back into the ruthless grasshopper and joins his friends.
Thorum comes to the table, and he's got an armful of cups of brandy. Sets one down in front of each of you and says, "Folks have a long night. Deserve some rest. It's all on me." Heads back to the
Thank you,
bar.
Thorum.
I
Thank
take
you.
a cup and down it instantly.
That's my
I
girl.
will pleasantly sip my drink.
What was that?
Does not.
You're like cutting in and out.
Here we go again.
Takara does not sip.
Okay.
And Core will drink at a steady pace. Not so much a sip, but not so much a downing.
Um, as each of you kind of gather your thoughts on what happened, you're glad to be somewhere safe, with no immediate pressing threat at the moment. Anything else y'all would like to do before heading up to bed? All right. Oh, okay.
No.
So the next morning comes, and as we talked about, you have about 2 days or so of downtime. So go ahead and put in a long rest if you haven't done so already. Um, so let's see. Um, Turkara, you were interested in some training opportunities and ways to improve your martial skill.
Correct.
So you spend the next morning kind of asking around town, seeing if there's anyone who's known to be particularly skilled in that area that might be able to provide some guidance. Um, and after a few inquiries, why can't I say that word? You're directed towards Paracrothin, who is the leader of the Vine Walkers. Put that name in chat for you real
Ah,
quick.
who I believe I met when I took Androda's body back.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
So you head up to the very top of the tree into the leaves where there's a few kind of buildings, and that area is known as the canopy. And there's several of these vine crawlers moving around, gathering weapons. And you see him, you're led into kind of like an office building, and you see this older male elf sitting behind a desk. Um, he looks up and says, "Ah, I remember you from before. How can I help you?"
Admittedly, I think in this place I'm hard to forget. Um, you know. Um,
That's
I
true.
was
It's
told that.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Um, that's true. It has been some time since I've had a conversation with Vargoth.
Have you ever trained with one? I say in my actual accent.
Um, in fact, I have. Give me 1 second. Um, although it was some decades ago.
Well, I was told that you are quite skilled, so I would like to maybe test the word of mouth.
I have quite a few skills. Which are you looking to test? The blade? Tracking? Keeping an eye out for danger? All of these are key utilities of a vine crawler and would be quite useful for an adventurer like yourself.
Hmm. Given the environment that we've been in and the encounters that we've had recently, I think it might be most helpful to learn how to better keep an eye out for danger.
Um, 1 sec. Very well. There is I can tell by the look of you that you've seen many things. You're keenly aware of all threats and potential opportunities. You see, the Archdruids will be departing the jungle soon, and with them gone, we need as many eyes and ears as possible to identify threats before they reach our home. I um I've recalled all but a few of our vine crawlers here to enhance the defense of Yudhamanu, which means I have fewer scouting groups out. But if you find yourself traveling the jungle, I ask that you keep an eye out for any danger, any potential threat, no matter how small it might seem. Take careful note and report back to me. Let me know what you find so that I might better prepare our defenses. If you do this, I will teach you the ways of the vine crawler, how we become one with the jungle, so that we may spot our foes before they spot us.
I will accept your offer.
Very well. Uh, now, be on your way. I have many duties to attend to, and the list is only getting longer.
Okay, I understand your bit. I will speak to you again soon.
Okay.
And I leave.
All right. Um, Lilavati, you decided to head and visit the Temple of Heffine, known as the Glowing Pagoda. Sorkovan, you also expressed interest in going to this place. Would y'all like to go there together or separate? It's totally up to y'all. Taylor, I think you're muted.
I wouldn't have thought to ask anyone to go with me, so unless Lilavati approached me, or we just coincidentally happened to go at the same time, I don't think we would have gone together.
I don't think Lilavati would have gone with anyone.
Okay. So Lilavati, you. One sec.
While the archdruids are in town, she's trying not to go with anyone.
All right. Um. I got a couple different tabs I'm switching between to gather some info. Okay. Um. So you come to this. It's not so much a temple, just as a space with various shrines to the four elemental gods. But the shrine to Heffine is completely dwarfs the others. Um, there are sconces scattered around this space with a glowing green fire in them, but it seems to have no impact on the plant life all around. Um, there's a dozen or so acolytes and people in prayer here. Um, and give me one sec. You see, the high priestess is a red-skinned tiefling wearing these bright yellow and blue robes. And she's just standing, arms outstretched, in front of a large kind of bonfire in the center of the shrine. Um, as you approach, she says, "Welcome, child of the Inferno. What brings you here?"
Um, just some of the recent events with what happened at the canopy. Just had some concerns I wanted to kind of work through.
Heffine is here in our presence. She will listen to your concerns. She will, she will renew the light inside of you so that you might further your own goals. Tell me, what is fire to you?
Life?
It is life. It is life, and so much more than that. For it is the source of life. It brings the warmth that all things need to grow. From well-cooked meals to the sun itself, which is Heffing's radiant warmth, always providing us the capability to live, grow, and thrive. Um, you see, when the greed and ambition of mankind leads to tyranny, slavery, and oppression, the flames of Heffine shall burn out the corruption and provide the space for freedom, new life, and purity to expand. I know of the events that happened last night, and I can see the darkness in your soul from what you have suffered and from what you have suffered in your past. Heffine will brighten that darkness. Her warmth will sustain you. She will burn away any weakness and selfishness as her light shines through you to all the sorrowful places in the world. Please, take as much time as you need here.
Thank you. And I'll kind of find a spot to kind of just sit down near the fire
Mhm.
and just meditate.
I'm sorry, are we doing this like as if we're both here now?
No, Storkoven's not here now.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. Um, how long do you spend there, Lilivati?
Long enough to lose track of time.
Mhm.
It's like probably till sundown.
Yeah. Um, as you gaze into the fire for hours, the flames flicker into various shapes that your heart searches for meaning, but you see simply fire. And yet fire still has much meaning to you. And just as the sun begins to set, its orange rays racing across the horizon, moments before darkness takes the land, a the priestess begins walking towards you, and she says, "My child, I've had a vision from the goddess herself. You came here of your own will, and yet it is part of her plan. She has shown me that a poison spreads from the northwest. Where the heaving creek meets the lake of ablution, a presence has entered this realm which must be put out. Bring Heffing's cleansing fire to the shadow, and once light has returned, her blessings shall fall upon you."
Could you repeat the location on those?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Where the heaving creek meets the lake of ablution.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and having lived in this area for some time, you would know that this actually I can show y'all. So if you look on this map, this large lake to the north of Uhamanu is the Lake of Ablution. And the heaving creek is this river to the west of Utamanu. So where that river meets the lake.
Okay.
Also on this map, each hex is about a day of travel. All right. Oh, and one other thing I should mention, there are some things for sale here. Services provided by the acolytes at the temple. Where is here it is. Oh wait, that token is messed up. One sec. There you go. Y'all can see that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a few things for sale. Mostly things I've used for like a cleric or paladin or something like that. But also, there's a couple different like spells that they can cast here as a service if the payment is provided.
For some reason, it's not letting me access it.
Oh wait. Try now. You might need to close the window and reopen it.
I got it.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So Sirkovan, I would say you head here as well. And as you walk in, you do notice Lilavati deep in thought, um, near the shrine to Hefin.
I don't want to bother her.
Hmm.
I figure she came here for probably the same reason I did, if not close.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
I look for whoever I think is managing the temple.
Yeah, you see the same woman that Lilavati was speaking to. She's just talking to a few acolytes, kind of in a corner of the space.
I walk up to them, but I let them finish their conversation before I approach the priestess.
Yeah, they a couple of them step away, and um, she sees your approach and says, "Hello, my child. How may I be of service?"
Is there anywhere in this temple that is particularly close to Hefin?
She gestures
That's
towards the largest kind of green bonfire um, that I had described before. Um, this fire was ignited by Hefin herself when last she descended several millennia ago. We have been the caretakers of this place ever since.
I see. Thank you. And I try to sit in a seat closest to that flame.
You do so, and you're near enough that Lilavati notice him. But yeah.
As I'm sitting there, I can't help but think of Hefine. She's the reason I came here. And for me, what she represents is my passion, my drive, coursing blood, my dreams, and even my destiny. It was her outlook, her aura that gave me the confidence to set out on this seemingly impossible task. And I can't help but think that I share so many similarities with who we have identified as our foes, at least so far. And it made me question my resolve. It made me question whether or not what I'm seeking is to be sought. I don't want to become Zilpali. I don't think I'm him yet. I think back to what Vasan said, and although I don't agree completely with what he told me, I do see the spirit of what he meant. And a part of me does agree that even if I am to believe everything that I experienced while in Zilpali's body, there are still things that he has done that disturb me. He still crossed lines that I'm questioning if I could cross, if I had to. And I know that Zilpali would do anything to accomplish his goals. And through Heffine's guidance, I can't expect that she would lead me anywhere else than just to that very same place that Zilpali found himself in. If I want to accomplish my quest, then won't I have to do everything that it takes? Won't I have to go beyond what other people would do? Um, and I just sit there and I think about my relationship to her and what is to come in the future, where this will lead me.
As you're having these thoughts, you notice someone come and sit next to you. You recognize this human woman as the one whose brother was killed by Tlaloc. She whispers to you, saying, I read your note. I gave it some thought. I've decided to join you in your organization. I don't want any more people to go through what my brother went through. Where do I go? What do I need to do?
Thorkovan thinks for a moment and realizes what he's done. In a moment where he's had the most doubt, he's now been presented with someone who's been inspired by him. And for a brief second, he thinks, no, I won't tell her. But then his feelings shift and he turns to her and he looks her right in her eyes. And he whispers the location of the Fallen Phoenix's headquarters. Explains that his contact is a man named Vanduin, his position within the organization, and he tries to give her any relevant information as to how to become a member and really just anything she wants to know.
Yeah. Just so you're aware, okay, Storkoven would definitely know that information. Just give me one sec. So the headquarters is a place called Amaranthina, and it's in these mountains to the south or southwest.
I don't think I own a map.
Oh wait, sorry, I didn't pull it. Oh,
No, I can see
oh,
where
okay,
you
I
are.
see. Uh-huh.
But I just mean like I try to explain to her where that is, but I don't
Mhm.
have a I don't think I have a reference point.
I see. I mean, she says,
I'm assuming she knows where that is.
right. Um, she says, thank you. I will not waste this gift you have given me. I look forward to seeing you again as comrades.
Forward to that day.
Yeah, and she stands up and leaves the area. How long do you want to stick around?
I think that this is exactly what I needed. My time here has come to an end. I get up and I leave the temple.
All right. Um, let's see.
And as I pass Lilavati, I glance at her knowingly, but I say nothing, even if our eyes meet.
Lilavati, do you react in any way?
So I think part of the meditation I would have been doing would be like focusing on each of the senses one by one, and that might have been on like anything that wasn't sight at this point, so I might not have had my eyes open.
In that case, I would have just looked at her, but done the same thing.
All right. Um, let's see.
Oh, by the way, Chris, it's been like an hour and a half.
Gotcha.
You want to or anything?
Yeah, now would be a good time to take a break. Um, we'll see y'all back in a little bit. Alrighty, welcome back. Um, so, sec. So we left off with Sarkovan leaving the glowing pagoda. All right. So, Core, you you're looking around town, trying to find some supplies that may be of use to the cause that you fight for. um, you're looking for some way to make use of your raw strength, something that is a way you can contribute, but also earn a little something. And as you're wandering around town, asking around, you notice a couple people. Um, you see Jiknu, the half-orc that was the first to tell you about Tanu's plight at the orchard. He is joined by a female half-orc, as well as three large, long-limbed, rather hairy humanoid creatures. And they're all working on chopping a large branch off of the 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 tree that the city is built on. You notice that this branch is kind of like withered, um, doesn't have any leaves on it, um, and they have kind of like a cart filled with several of these branches. What do you do?
I will walk up to them and I will say, "Excuse me, gentlemen and gentlewomen. Would you happen to need any assistance cutting that branch down?"
Well, this one's all done, but there's plenty more to take care of. You want to help out?
Why, it would be a pleasure.
Yeah. This yeah, you see when some of the smaller branches on the tree die, they need to be pruned before so that the tree can grow new healthy branches in their place.
Mhm.
It's very important. Well, the wood that we gather is quite strong, useful for building homes and other things, but it's very important that we don't build anything using the wood from live branches or live trees. You see, this tree is quite important to everyone that lives here, and if it's not taken care of, um, our home will stop growing and thriving. But here, why don't you grab an axe, grab a cart, and just walk around the tree. The dead branches are usually easy enough to spot. See what you find.
All right, certainly. I will get started right away.
Um, yeah, so we could pay you for this, or you could just feel free to hang on to whatever wood you find if you have use of it.
Hmm. What kind of materials do you think we could make out of this wood?
It's good for building structures as well as handles of weapons, quarterstaves, staves, I should say. Um, Makes a pretty solid shield as well. But yeah, I mean the stairs you've been walking on made from this wood. They've lasted for
Interesting.
generations.
Okay. Yes, I think that would work perfectly fine as a good base material. I think I will definitely take you up on that offer.
All right. What do you
Uh,
plan on doing with it, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, in truth, I'm actually looking for some various supplies. I don't know if you're aware of the dragon wars that are currently going on.
Yeah, we've had a few encounters with the Dragonborn armies in the past. None too recent, but never pleasant. All they
Hmm.
care about is fire, destruction, conquest. But see, here we take what has died and use it to create new life.
Yes, it's a good philosophy, Liv. I can certainly say the description you gave is quite accurate. Ruthless people over there. I'm actually the Arising Alloys, a group that's hoping to bring an end to the Dragon Wars. So any sort of supplies that I could gather for our cause would certainly be appreciated.
Yeah, well, should hurt certainly help you out with such a noble goal. But yeah, I mean, you should be able to find a good amount of wood in a day or two of work. But how do you plan
Absolutely.
on transporting it to wherever it needs to go?
Hmm. Well, that would be the tricky question. Um, I'm not sure if there's any sort of availability of like a large pack of sorts that can hold a lot of materials. You wouldn't happen to know anything about it, would you? I'm afraid I'm not too familiar with the area.
One sec. He says, well, I mean, if you head over to Strings and Things, they have, backpacks and satchels and other pouches for sale, although you need quite a crew to carry a decent amount of wood with just that.
Hmm.
Better off probably
Yes.
maybe head to Swift Spinners, see if you can. That's a stables, and see if you can maybe buy a mount and a cart to go with it. Might do you good.
Yes, that seems like a
Depending on how far you need to travel.
yes, that certainly seems like a good idea. I'll definitely have to stop by. Um, Although since I'm here, I suppose I should help you folk out first. Get the materials in the meantime.
Might as well. Have at it.
All right, and I will get started chopping down this wood.
All right, first make a investigation check for me.
Investigation.
All right, and then make a athletics check for me. All right, yeah. So you managed to find you spend the better part of the day kind of traveling around the tree city, chopping down the branches that you find. Some of the branches are too small to be worth it for any sort of construction, but you cut them off anyway, knowing that they new, better branches will grow back in their place. But you do manage to collect 6 large bundles of wood that you imagine can be quite useful. As you're walking around, though, um, you start working on one particularly large branch you find, chopping through to cut it down, and a large creature comes around the corner on the like wooden pathway on the side of the tree. It's about 12 feet tall, but very kind of hunched over, with leaves growing on his back, skin that seems to be made of wood. And he says, hello there, scaled one. I've not seen you around these parts. What brings you to Udhamanyu?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually on a bit of a quest to gather as many supplies for my group o- uh, over where the dragon wars are taking place. And this wood that I'm chopping down seems to be some great material that can be useful.
Yes, wood can be used for quite a few many useful things as long as it's treated properly.
Hmm.
But you say you're seeking an end to these dragon wars. It's quite an ambitious goal.
Yes, indeed. I'm actually part of the Arising Alloys. I certainly myself wouldn't be able to accomplish such a task by my own. So it's good to know that I'm part of a large group. I believe that if we work together, there certainly can be an end to the wars in sight.
Yes. Oh, then it seems like you have a good way to go about it.
Mm.
Um, Although I wonder, as large as your organization is, have you heard word of the red dragonborn seen in the forest to the north recently?
In the forest to the north, you say. Tell me more about this dragon.
Well, the trees see many things. They speak to me and I listen. They talk of dozens of red-scaled dragonkin who fled into the forest, fleeing from some unknown fate. They were not kind to the forest, and so the forest was not kind to them. Yet they still remain, doing what they can to survive.
Did they seem hostile?
They're hostile to the trees, hostile to the Shurin Rangers that attempted to drive them out. Their numbers were many, but their morale seemed weak. It's been some time since the Dragonborn has set foot in the forest for good reason, and I wonder what caused them to do so this day.
That is troubling to hear. Did there seem to be a leader of the group? Or was it just a group of individuals?
The trees do not distinguish leadership in the way that you or I might. To them, each is a part of the forest, each has a duty to serve.
That is certainly troubling to hear. I might need to look into it further. Where did you say you spotted them?
The trees that told me of this are located just north of the Lake of Ablution.
What of the Lake of Bush? All right. I will certainly look further into this matter. I appreciate you telling me, my friend.
Ah, you can call me Quiet Root.
Quiet.
What is your name?
I simply go by Core.
A strong name, a simple one. I like it.
Yes. It's the only name I've had.
Most folks only need one. I feel
I
sorry
agree.
for those that need more.
Well, Quiet Root, I appreciate you letting me know. If there's anything else I can do, feel free to let me know. I'm always happy to help those who are in need.
Oh, not too much needs doing in this town. Things are simple enough here, and that's the way I like it.
Simple existence. It is quite indeed.
Every now and then, things get shaken up a bit, but then my friend Shasoka and her druids take care of it. I hear she's gonna be leaving town for a bit soon, but the rest of the druids will stay here and see that things are taken care of.
Yes. Seems everything will be perfectly fine.
I sure hope so.
I appreciate you letting me know, Quiet Root.
You
This was a nice chat.
you seem a friendly fellow. there's anything that the trees can do for you, I'll be around town. And he wanders off.
All right. And with that, I will continue the. Was I still in the process of chopping down
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wood?
So you spend the better part of the day finishing up that
Okay.
job. um, you head back to uh, Jiknu, and he says, pretty nice for first day on the job. Um, Now, typically after a long day's work, we head back to the Grasshopper for drinks. Will you be joining us?
Yes, I think that'll be great. Certainly could use a break after a workout like today.
Oh, and I should introduce, this is my wife, Pataki. He gestures towards the half-orc woman. And our friends, Kugor, Vark, and Khan. And he gestures towards the three kind of large, very hairy, long-limbed humanoids.
Pleasure to meet all of you. Shake each of their hands.
They shake and give you a grunt. Khan just smacks you on the back and says, I like you! Um, yeah. Um, let's see. Sorkovan, you wanted to speak with your family. Are you muted?
Bre-
Oh, no, you're not. I heard that.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that this group, we're destined for greater things, things that will take us out of Yutamanu. And as part of my preparations before we inevitably leave, I'd like to just say a few things to them.
All right. So you head to your home that you grew up in. It's on some of the lower parts of the tree. Um, a simple home, but a nice one. You head inside, and you see, uh, let's see, one sec. You see your mother, Galena, as well as your grandfather, Cyrazin. Um, one sec. And Galena says, oh, Sir Coven, I'm glad to see you're all right. You know, I was talking to some of my friends about what had happened at the festival, and when I heard your name mentioned, I got worried. But how are you?
I'm fine. I'm glad to know that you all are safe too. Yes, it was something. I still don't quite know exactly what happened, but I'm in one piece and we're here together. That's what matters.
She nods and says, yes, your your father's out on a hunt, but he should be back soon. I'm sure he'll want to see you.
Great. Do you mind if I stay here?
Oh, of course. Um, Sarazin kind of stands up. Uh, he says, eh, can tell you've seen some things, boy, but you've come through them. Tell me, what was it like?
It was incredible. The stories that you told me when I was younger, I was always captivated by them. But Nothing's quite like having an adventure of your own. And I can't wait to share that story for years to come, just like you did.
He nods and kind of smiles. You know, the things that we heard about what happened to you reminds me of another story. Did I ever tell you the curious tale of Wisteria Vale?
No, I don't think you have.
You might learn a thing or two from it. He goes, and in the back room of the house, there's this like piles. Oh, he goes like his room, and it's basically there's a bed, and then the rest of the room is just filled with piles of books, some musical instruments, scrolls, other like lore that he's gathered over his long years. He shuffles through the books a bit and pulls out a large green tome and starts flipping through it. He says, "Ah, yes, uh, it's a play. You see, in the first act, the protagonist Vargan lives out a peaceful childhood in the village of Wisteria Vale. You see, Vargan's a dragonborn boy with a penchant for storytelling and a knack for magic. During the day, Vargan helps his parents out on the farm, and in the evening, he performs in the tavern to the delight of all the villagers. But when Vargan's on the cusp of adulthood, a cruel green dragon named Arog Anwar visits Wisteria Vale, demanding drink, food, a place for him and his servants to stay. When the hospitality isn't to his liking, he burns down the village. Arog leaves Vargan alive as a witness to the village's punishment, but not before slashing him across the face with his claws. The event changes Vargan forever. He vows to bring down the pitiless dragon and preventing him from hurting anyone ever again. Then we come to the second act of the play. Vargan tracks down Arog in a bustling city. Unsure how to proceed, the young bard starts asking around the city for information. He is approached by a wizard who tells him that she belongs to a secret group looking to bring down Arog and the others who have been corrupted by power. The wizard invites Vargan to join the secret organization, and he agrees, becoming a member of the Arising Alloys. With the aid of the information from the alloys, Vargan sneaks into Arog's castle during a banquet disguised as a performer and dispatches Arog once and for all. Although his quest for vengeance has been fulfilled, Vargan is obsessed with the fact that many other corrupt and evil dragons exist across the land, and that only people like him and the alloys can stop him. Finally, we come to the third act of the play. Vargan becomes much more powerful, using his talents in magic and espionage to single-handedly take down corrupt dragons and their servants. Although he becomes a legend among the alloys, Vargan stays humble, believing it is his duty to protect others. At the climax of the play, Vargan battles an archmage who is turned evil by an ancient mask of unknown origin. Though Vargan defeats the archmage, prolonged contact within the mask corrupts the bard, convincing him that his former allies are too powerful and must be eliminated. The allies devise a solution to prevent Vargan from hurting anyone while they develop a cure. They banish him to a demiplane in another realm. The play ends with a short monologue by the ally wizard who befriended Vargan years ago, saying that though Vargan's ultimate fate is still unknown, a day will come when light will banish the darkness. It's been some time since I've read that, but I did always enjoy that story.
Wow. Seems like you've got it completely memorized. That's incredible.
He was reading it out of the book that he pulled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What made you think to tell me that story, Sir Raisin?
Nothing in particular. I mean, I'd heard of how you had been possessed of a sort.
But did you know that one of my allies is Core, a member of the Arising Alloys, the very group mentioned in your story?
I had no idea.
Interesting. Do you know when my father will be returning from his hunt?
Um, it might be a few hours. Um, when he gets here, we can let him know you were looking for him. Maybe you've been staying at the Grasshopper, right?
That's right.
He'll meet you there.
Okay. It was nice seeing you. And you too, Mom. And
Glad.
then I head
She's-
away.
Yep. She says, "It's always nice having you back home." All right. So Chirkara, you wanted to go speak with one of the druids of the Circle of Dreams who had spoken with you at the festival.
Yes.
Um, and then Shorkovan, you had mentioned you were also interested in speaking with some of the druids, although I don't know if you've already done some of that, so if I don't know if you had anything more you wanted to say to them.
I feel like I've been taking up a lot of real estate,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna let Turkara have the spotlight on this one.
Okay, not a problem. Um, all right, so Takara, you make your way up to kind of the large pool where Burasil appeared and all the druids gathered. Um, and near there is a passageway that leads into the quarters of the Circle of Dreams. That is effectively the government of Utamanu. You find a Prajavati, the Tabaxi druid who had spoken to you before, and she says, Turkara, I was wondering when you'd come find me. How are you since last night?
Well, I am concerned. My friends for the state of the realm, but I am okay. As
Well,
long as I breathe, I am okay.
that is good. You see, with the arch druids heading out, things are getting worried. The rest, a few days ago, I was tracking some strange creatures to the west, but I had to give up the hunt to get back here in time for the festival. So I need to keep watch over the town because without Trasoka, who knows what'll happen. But do you think you might be able to track them for me? I think they might have some connection to this god hunter we've been worried about.
Yes, definitely. This actually is quite serendipitous.
Um, she says, well, you should be able to pick up the trail west of the Heaving Creek. But as you're having this conversation, you hear a loud voice from outside say, hold on, hold on. Before anyone's going on any journey to fight any kind of strange monsters, you gotta go there in your dreams first. Come on, let's take a nap. And you see this Heridia step in and gesture towards you.
I'm sorry, if this is some sort of uh, mating ritual, I do not mean to offend. I'm just not familiar. You must explain yourself.
He says, this is no, nothing of that sort. Um, you see, they don't call us the Circle of Dreams for nothing. In the state of dreams, well, anything's possible, and I think it's time you take your first dream journey. Come to the Chamber of Rest. And he begins walking.
I have so many questions, and okay.
So Hridia and Prajavati lead you to another chamber in this this sort of compound. Um, and it's a simple round chamber, like with like bark for walls, as it's built into the tree. And in the center of the chamber is this a large kind of bed made basically of like vines. And he says, "Lay down."
Quite forward. And I just do it.
Yeah, as you lay down, the vines begin moving, and it feels kind of weird for a bit, but then they kind of adjust to the contours of your body to where it's like perfectly comfortable. Um, and you close your eyes. It seems only for a second as you fall asleep. Um, and you begin dreaming. You see a trio of elves with unnaturally pale skin, stark white hair, and dark leather armor moving through the jungle. One of them has long spiked chains hanging from its belt. Um, Another carries a pair of swords on its back. You watch them ascend a steep hillside as heavy rain begins to fall. Just before they break the tree line, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
This is the first roll of the session. So,
Yeah.
the character sheet. You said a wisdom save?
Yes. Yeah. So with your mind begins to drift, but you realize that this information might be of use to you, so you stay focused. Uh, the the elves reach the top of the hill, and you see it has kind of like a cliff face that falls off to a rushing river below. Beyond the river, you see tall mountains. One of the elves points towards the mountains, and they nod to each other. The rain continues to fall, and a strike of lightning flashes nearby. Make another wisdom saving throw for me. Um, all right, give me 1 second. Because I can actually show you what these zones look like. Do I have it? Yeah. Yeah. So these are the L's that you see. Um, and you begin to hear them speak as they say, just another day's travel before we return. Balakai will be quite pleased by the news we bring. We cannot miss this opportunity. Make another wisdom saving throw for me. As the rain continues to fall, another strike of lightning flashes, and your mind loses focus on this scene as it comes to another. You feel the cold steel of a knife in your hand, the harsh smell of the blood coating its blade, lightning continuing to flash in the distance. It illuminates the three bodies around you: Fartheled, Furier, Auta. Auta's head weakly looks towards you as she speaks. Tor, I hereby grant you the name. From this day forward, you shall be Torkar. Torkar. Torkara. Torkara. Torkara, wake up! Your eyes flash open, seeing the two druids standing around you with a look of worry in each of their eyes. Prajavati says, At first you seemed at peace in your rest, for some time, but quickly you began tossing and turning, sweating and shouting and screaming in your sleep. Hreidia's eyes, for the first time, do not appear so jolly. I can tell you have faced troubles, Eochora. Your life has not been easy. You must let these troubles fall behind you if you are to move on and find true peace.
It does not die that the fun find peace.
Don't be so sure about that. All of us have troubles that we've faced, but we cannot all accomplish them alone. Tell me, what is it that troubles you so?
I don't want to bore you with the story. Let's just say that there is a reason that I have left my village. I am Hunt, the one who has thrown my life into disarray.
Well, if your village it's not safe for you anymore, you're always going to be welcome here in Utamanyu. I'll make sure of it. And he gives you a big hug.
Reluctantly, I'll hug him back after a few seconds.
And Prazavati says, so, on your dream journey, did you see anything of use?
Yes, before my motivation, there were 3 elves stalking through wooded area, and furious, pale as the moonlight. They crossed the river towards the mountain in the distance. Seemed excited to get home, or maybe not home, but to their destination that gives tidings. They seemed dark. Not, maybe not, but mysterious.
Yeah, well, better hurry out and find them then. Find out what they want, what they're doing, and where they come from, who they worked for. Good luck.
Thank you. There was one more detail. I noticed the weapons they carried seemed significant. One of them had 2 crossed swords on the back, another spiked chain or flail at the hip. The third, I believe, was possibly a spear, but it's more foggy.
That's useful. We'll do some research here, see if we can find out anything about what sort of people might use such weapons. Alright, so guess you head back and join the others at the Grasshopper. And
When I leave, I will say thank you for this. What I think will be a fine hunt.
You seem a fine hunter. Good luck. Or, she said that already, but yeah. And if you have need of the Chamber of Rest, just find us. Can show you many useful things, but sometimes it doesn't. I don't spend much time here because it does take time to journey through dreams. And as you kind of realize, like it's actually been a few hours in that when you had that quick vision. Um, but sometimes it is useful.
It seems I got the mixed bag today. It was helpful. Thank you. And I will leave.
Okay. Um, and with that, as you head out, I think we'll end tonight's session. So, thanks for playing, guys. Hope y'all had fun.
I'm gonna go dream for real.
All right. We'll see y'all next time.